Shalom. Call Haloyim Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Chakwadash and Shanyukabad Agadwala Rekwab Quanyam Nawa Wa Shalayakim Nawa. That is the belongers to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone and Shalom Wabarakim Labakayim Shalayasharala. That is peace and blessings to the elect of Israel. And as always, may a double portion of the Holy Spirit be put upon all their brothers that are still offering their bodies as a living sacrifice doing this work. So you all see the title of this article, and there's a reason why the Lord calls his servants prophets in these times. That is because he's given us a particular vision according to the scriptures where, believe it or not, we can literally tell you how the future is going to play out. Now, am I saying that we can see the future in a vision while we're sleeping, or we just go into a trance and we know exactly how things are going to be? Of course not. But what I'm saying is that because of the scriptures and because of prophecy, we know how things could potentially play out because of how the scriptures detail certain events. With that being said, this article is entitled CDC Chief Says There Could Be Second, Possibly Worse Coronavirus Outbreak This Winter. Now, we've been saying this ever since this whole coronavirus thing popped off, specifically here in Babylon the Great. And excuse my voice, I kind of just woke up not too long ago. And I seen this title of this article, and I wanted to really put this video out there. But we've been talking about how there could potentially be some kind of pause or slow down with this coronavirus, and then all of a sudden it's going to randomly out of nowhere pick back up, and then there could also potentially be some kind of second strand to this coronavirus. Now, certain topics like this don't always come out and get discussed through videos. They'll pop up randomly while we're out speaking on the streets, and that's why it's very important to not only to tune in when we do go live out there on the highways and byways, but if you believe and if you're a capable body, specifically you men, you need to get your tails out there. It's very important. A lot of topics come out, and first and foremost, you're offering your body as a living sacrifice like the Lord ordered us to do. So before I read this article, and we're going to probably jump around and not read too much of it, let me start off with this scripture, Matthew 24, verses 21 and 22. It says, "For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world to this time, no, nor ever shall be." So we're coming into a very, very terrible time. The worst time that we've ever seen on earth. That's the time that we're coming into. Verse 22, "And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved. But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened." That's the time that we're coming into. You can expect to see, if not this summer, then maybe this fall, or definitely the winter probably. I'll say that probably, not definitely. But you can expect to see more and more and more death. Expect to be walking around and mentally prepare yourself to see dead bodies in these streets. Let's not forget how Venezuela was last year. That's how it's going to be over here in the States very soon. So the article goes on to say a second coronavirus outbreak could emerge this winter in conjunction with the flu season to make for an even more dire health crisis. The director of the CDC and prevention told the Washington Post in an interview, "There's a possibility that the assault of the virus on our nation next winter will actually be even more difficult than the one we just went through." CDC Director Robert Redfield, and you already see how people are acting, said in a story published Tuesday. And when I've said this to others, they kind of put their head back. They don't understand what I mean. We're going to have the flu epidemic and the coronavirus epidemic at the same damn time, he added, predicting a dual assault on the health care system. So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about what? The flu season starts around September, mid-September, something like that. So they're saying even if this coronavirus outbreak dies down, even if the economy opens back up, even if people get a little bit of jobs back and bars open, blah, 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 nothing matters. None of that matters because we're living in the end days of the end days. And the Lord said that these plagues are going to keep hitting. They're going to come harder and harder. And now guess what? Now they're coming out and talking about potentially the coronavirus kicking back up during the flu season. So now you got the coronavirus, which there's still no so-called vaccine or solution to, mixing with the flu. Hospitals are going to be going crazy. Things are going to be shut down even more. Watch, you're going to see even more dead bodies. And as the elect, we have to prepare our minds for such. But check it out. This is the book of Jeremiah, before we keep reading. Chapter 16. We're going to start reading at verse 3. It says, "For thus saith the Lord concerning the sons and concerning the daughters that are born in this place, and concerning the mothers that bear them, and concerning their fathers that begat them in this land. They shall die of grievous deaths. They shall not be lamented, neither shall they be buried, but they shall be as dung upon the face of the earth." And there's going to be so many dead bodies. Like I mentioned earlier, be prepared to just be walking by and stepping over dead bodies. Remember, the scriptures say in the book of Psalm, I believe it's the 91st chapter, it talks about how 1,000 is going to fall at one side and 10,000 at the other side. But it's not going to come nigh unto thee. It's not going to come near unto the Lord's elect. So we have to have faith and know that the Lord is going to protect us in those times. But we have to continue to spiritually and mentally prepare our minds, not our bodies, our minds, to be in the midst of it. It says, "But they shall be as dung upon the face of the earth, and they shall be consumed by the sword and by the famine, and their carcasses shall be meat for the fowls of heaven and for the beasts of the earth." That's the time that we're coming into. But check it out. Verse 4, it says, "They shall die of grievous deaths." Let's go into that word grievous. Turn that off real quick. Just click. Grievous. They shall die of grievous deaths. What kind of deaths is that? Turn it back off. All right, the word for grievous in the Hebrew, it's thachalayam. And what does it say? Outline of biblical usage: diseases. So that's what grievous means. Thachalayam, diseases, or diseases, sicknesses, grievous. So boom, they shall die of what kind of deaths? Diseases. Remember that coronavirus could potentially come back and mix with the flu. Verse 5 says, "Thus saith the Lord, enter not into the house of mourning, neither go to lament, nor be moaned for them. For I have taken away my peace from this people, saith the Lord, even loving kindness and mercies." And remember, in the book of Judges, it says, go crying to the gods that you've chosen. That's around the 10th chapter, I believe, 10 and 14, around there maybe. But go cry unto those gods. Because right now, the doors of mercy are still open. But there's going to come a time where the scriptures talk about a famine of the word. And when you don't see any prophets out there anymore on your street corners, and especially when this internet is shut down and you don't have access to these videos anymore, then believe you me, at that time, the doors of mercy have been shut. And the scriptures say the righteous shall scarcely be saved in those times. And it's going to be scarce because you're going to have to hear it by word of mouth. And there's not that many people out there that can break down these scriptures to you and tell you exactly how to move to be saved. Verse 9, jumping down, says, "For thus saith the Lord of hosts, the power of Israel, behold, I will cause to cease out of this place in your eyes and in your days the voice of mirth meaning happiness, joyfulness, gladness. That's going to cease, and it's ceasing right now. And the voice of gladness, well, I jumped the gun. The voice of the bridegroom and the voice of the bride. And people are already tripping because of this stay-at-home order. Protests and uproars happening in all these different states and different countries as well. People used to complain and cry about having to go to work. Now people are begging their governors to open back up their states and go back to work. Mirth has been gone. All right, let me see if there's any more of this article. It says, while there are shots to help prevent the flu and drugs to help treat it, unlike the novel coronavirus, which still has no approved treatment or vaccine, it remains a deadly infection. The flu season has been underway since September, meaning last September, and while flu activity now is considered low, the season has seen a high number of hospitalizations and infections, killing at least 168 children, according to the CDC. Last year, the flu killed at least 34,200 Americans, according to the CDC, and made an estimated 35.5 million people sick. So let's put that up with the coronavirus numbers. Yeah, lots of death is coming. Be prepared for that. Boom. Last precept, 2 Ezra chapter 16, starting at verse 37, we'll read the highlighted. Behold, the plagues draw nigh and are not slack, as when a woman with child in her 9th month bringeth forth her son, with 2 or 3 hours of her birth, great pains compass her womb, which pains, when the child cometh forth, they slack not a moment. Even so shall not the plagues be slack to come upon the earth, and the world shall mourn, and sorrow shall come upon it on every side. This is what we're coming into. Matter of fact, we're in it. We're in it right now. Don't think because states are opening back up beaches and maybe gyms and different little restaurants here and there that things are going to slow down. Absolutely not. As soon as people talk about and think about peace and safety, then come sudden destruction. People are getting their their stimulus checks. People have gotten their $1,200, $1,100, $900, whatever they're getting. Gas is down to like $1.60, $1.50. Plane tickets are cheap. Blah blah blah. People think they're really in a good case. Watch when things open back up. People are going to go into that much more of a sleep mode. They're going to be that much more in darkness. But the scriptures say that we are not of them that are in the darkness. We are the children of light. We have the knowledge. And we know that things are just going to get that much more worse. The plagues are not slack. So with that being said, be prepared for this. Be prepared for this. Be prepared to see dead bodies. Be prepared to be in that perilous time. But be prepared for the Lord to save us and get us out of it, because that's also a part of prophecy as well. With that being said, I do pray that the elect were edified. Call Allah, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakakwadash. Double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the elect. Shalom.